She was holding me with one arm, and she punched him with the other arm. I was scared.
My dad was getting physical with my mom. It got bad, got really bad. I don't know if you remember.
Oh man.
But you once told me that.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you did.
Hey guys, it's Alyssa, Lucius's wife. We're playing the game Substance.
Hi, I'm Lucius, and I'm Alyssa's husband, and we're playing Substance. All you gotta do is talk.
Now, what is something someone has said that will stay with you forever?
That'll stay with me forever.
Yeah.
What you do with the little, you do with a lot.
I knew you were gonna say that.
We've went through all kinds of things in our relationship, and you know, with ups and downs, and some things a little bit harder than other things that we've dealt with. It's that saying has played out in its own way with almost everything in our relationship. You know, I keep it in mind a lot now when I move in any kind of way, because I think it's a very true statement and very powerful statement that is helping me do better altogether as a man, you know, and it's all I want to do and be for her. So it's a powerful saying.
Something that you have said to me that will stay with me forever. You told me, do more and expect less. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And then sometimes I think about that and I'm like, dang, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Like, is it enough for you, for me? Like, if I look at like a dream marriage, like, what does it look like on both parties? Like, are we both like putting in the same amount of like work and expecting less? You know what I mean? Because I feel like if we were both putting in the same amount of love and pouring into each other as much, then we wouldn't even have to expect anything. You know, it would just be there. Everything would just be mutual.
So what I would say about that is that, you know, nothing and nobody is perfect. You know, that's the beauty of relationships, is all the nitty-gritty that it comes with. But it's just all about doing as much as you can, and I try my best every day to move that way, especially with you, because I think that, you know, putting into your relationship, especially with your spouse, you know, who you're married to, is almost like a cheat code, because, you know, in life, what you give people, you're gonna get. But giving your spouse, especially somebody that you've stood in front of God and committed to giving your all for the rest of your life, that almost like multiplies how much you get back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I really think is give as much as you can, and is coming back tenfold.
What scares you most about what happens next?
You know, having to deal with like a crazy change. You know, I am a firm believer, and I tell you that all the time, that, like, you know, I always tell you this is a cold world, and you never know what people could do or how they could wake up the next day, and what their minds could, like, where their minds could be at, or how they'd want to start moving in a different way. So I kind of like prepare myself and just think about all that stuff ahead of time. But what would scare me most is if I'm not able to do the things that I would really like to do, especially in the near future, because I really feel like I need to get those things done, you know, and if I can't get them done, it's not gonna be cool.
I think about what scares me the most about what's going to happen next is, just like you said earlier, like, you don't ever know, like, you can think everything is good with somebody and you never really know at the end of the day. So like, sometimes it feels like you want to hold back sometimes, like whether it is like love, affection, like everything, you know, because like you can give so much to somebody and be disappointed in the end. But then I also think like, dang, like at the end of the day, there's no love lost. If you do give love, you know, you're doing that out of the bottom of your heart. Like, you're really not going to lose anything. Somebody else is going to lose out on you because you gave the most, you know?
It is wonderful to hear you say.
Okay.
It is wonderful. What is something you regret telling someone?
I regret saying mean things to you when I'm upset because I know that it really does hurt you because you will bring it up in the future. You'll bring it up, and then I'm like, dang, like I know that really bothered him that I said that, and I was just saying that recklessly, you know. I really don't like to hurt your feelings. I love you.
For me, something I regret, you know, relationships are not easy, and sometimes you feel the need to express your emotions in verbal ways, and I wish that I had just kept it all between us, you know. Like sometimes I might have felt a certain way and went and talked to somebody else about things that should have just stayed between us and should have never ever left us, you know what I mean? So, because people's judgments and stuff and all their energies and everything else comes into play then, and then you go back afterwards talking about, oh no, everything's fine now, and then you look kind of silly after, you know what I mean? So.
What's the one question you've always wanted an answer to?
Sometimes I would suggest things and I feel like you just kind of like in one ear and out the other ear them. And I've never been a fan of that. So I've always wanted to know, how could I get through to you better so that you could, you know, actually understand what I'm trying to tell you, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I try to, you know, almost direct, you know, you in some ways, and I'm never the type of person to try and force my way or my opinion onto anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But as my wife, I think that we should be able to follow each other, you know, especially as being the man in the relationship and the leader.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, yeah, so how could I get through to you better in, you know,
I think that
trying to lead you, yeah.
I think that when you come up with maybe something that we need to do, I think you need to go over like all the areas prior to bringing it up to my attention. Because sometimes when you tell me something, I'm like, yeah, but this and this and this and this can happen, or what about this, this and that, and like you haven't thought it out thoroughly prior to bringing it up to me. You know what I mean?
I got you. Okay.
Something that I always wanted an answer to from you is, what is something I can do in my everyday life to better accommodate you as your wife and make you feel more comfortable or happy in our relationship?
Well, I'm a very chill guy, like you were saying. You know, I don't require much, but you know, I am an intimate guy as well. You're not super affectionate, but it's just something that, and we've talked about that too, where you know, that always helps moving around all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and then you know, just wanting to do that for me instead of me having to ask for it, I think would help a lot. You know. So moving on to vulnerable.
Okay.
Let's ask some questions.
What's the most difficult thing you've had to accept?
The less affectionate part. Honestly, I am a super affectionate person. I can barely keep my hands off
I'm
you.
working on it.
And you know, I've had to just be okay with how you were raised. We were both raised completely differently from completely different worlds. And I was raised by a very loving mama. You were raised by a really tough dad, you know.
And loving.
Very loving as well, you know, especially towards you.
Yeah.
My mom loves any and everybody.
Yeah, she's definitely more on the softer side.
Yeah, so.
And my dad was definitely more on the firmer side.
So my mom showed me all kinds of, you know, love and affection as
awesome,
growing
because I know
up.
what I'm gonna say for mine.
And you know, sometimes I might expect that from you a little bit, you know, but I've learned to accept that, you know, you are a only child raised by a man, you know, and it's you have so many other beautiful qualities about you that I'm so in love with, that overpower just that one little thing. So it's okay. And like you said, you are working on it, and you sure are. I
think it'll
sure
get better with time. More time, more years.
More time.
We got our whole lives to spend.
We have our whole lives. Yes.
The most difficult thing for me to accept is probably like the cultural differences that we have, because we do come from completely different backgrounds, and probably that you're the youngest of 4 and you're really close to your mom. I'm like, she's not living with this. Just saying. Okay, let's do the next one.
Oh, wow.
I'm scared.
Who broke you?
I think not having my mom present really did a number, for real. I think that has a lot to do probably why I'm not as affectionate with you, because it's missing my femme. I had to be strong all the time, you know? Oh, I want to cry.
Don't cry.
Okay.
Don't cry, go ahead.
I think if I had like a good, solid, feminine mom around that I can like talk to when like stuff got rough, or like somebody, like a man can only be so affectionate to his daughter, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely wish that I had somebody more feminine around me, even though I was raised by a village and I had like my grandma and my aunts there. It's not the same. Like, a mother's love is completely different. Sometimes I feel like, dang, like, I don't want to say that I like don't like your relationship with your mom, because I really respect her and I love her, but I'm like, sometimes it's like makes me a little bit envious because I never had that.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful having to say out loud.
Yeah, and I guess that's something that I've never really taken accountability for, is that I really never broke it down until now, I guess, in my brain.
This is a cool game. This is a cool game.
Oof. Your
So
turn.
who broke me? I would say experiences in life. I did have a crutch my entire life, wrestling. It was a good escape from a lot of things, but my parents' divorce when I was very young had a big effect on me. I did try to keep everything cool between everybody. You know, I am, again, a very easygoing person, and I take life as it comes. Try not to break my brain about the things that are happening around me, you know. God's always been there with me as well, and I lean on God pretty hard. So, but those things do still take effect, you know. They still have their ways of doing things. My dad, having been the Rolling Stone that he was, you know, I don't think that helped. You know, he did his thing, and I don't know what kind of effects that trickles down to a boy. But you know, I always try to keep a good relationship with him and so forth. But I would definitely put a little bit on him, because I think he could have done much, much better, you know. And he tried to lead by example, but he was not a good example.
That makes me think about what your brother said to you the other day.
And how my brother moves too.
Yeah, like,
you know.
oh, he cursed us.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how you're moving.
I'm pushing to break generational curses, and I've
Amen.
been doing good, even though I must say so myself. You know, I don't want to move like my daddy moved.
I appreciate that. Let's do the next one. Ooh, what's an apology you never got to give?
I would want to apologize for the rough ups and downs we had, especially in the beginning of our relationship. We went through some crazy things there, you know, and I was moving in a way that you didn't deserve at all. You know, I had a lot of doubts about who you really were, and just from previous experiences with relationships and females, I didn't think that you were who you were telling me you were. And I'm sorry that
You misjudged me.
I misjudged you, exactly. You know, and I didn't even mean to judge you. I was just moving based off of previous experiences, and you know, but you know, there was all kinds of things happening as well. You know, you was busy figuring things out on your own, and instead of me standing by you and, you know, being supportive of where you're trying to get to, I just assumed that you're moving in a way that you're not supposed to. And I'm sorry for that.
I accept your apology.
I appreciate that.
An apology that I never got to give, I would probably say, like, moving with like a closed mind, you know? Sometimes I like want to stay in my ways. A lot of the time, I feel like it's a safe place for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of scary because we do have cultural differences, and like I want to be able to like understand you and where you come from and how you think and why you do the things that you do and all of that. And sometimes I feel like I'm so like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Like I do shut things down because it feels unsafe for me. So I guess I would be apologizing for being closed-minded when it comes to certain situations.
I appreciate that. I accept your apology.
Are we getting closer?
Yeah, it's getting better, I would say, for sure. What's one childhood trauma that you experienced? Just one of them.
Oh, man. One childhood trauma. Ooh, this is a hard one. I don't know which one to pick. There's a lot. I don't know. I think probably the most traumatic would probably when I was like 5. My parents were not together, obviously. My mom was trying to take me away, and my dad didn't let her take me, and I saw her like punch him in his face, and I was literally in her arms. She was holding me with one arm, and she punched him with the other arm, and I feel so bad because at that point in time, like I really wanted to go with her, and I felt like I was like betraying my dad by like wanting to go with her. And like after I seen her do that, like it was just like a weird place for me to be in. Like I didn't like that she did that, but I still wanted to spend time with her, and I felt selfish. I think the cops came and they had to like diffuse the situation, and I had to stay with my dad, and I was like upset with him for not letting me go with her. And I just remember him being so sad because he knew I shouldn't have been with her, you know? It's kind of a hard situation when you feel like you have to pick between your parents.
Yeah.
What about you? What's one childhood trauma that you experienced?
Similar for sure, I'd say. When I woke up one morning and to loud sounds in the kitchen where my dad was getting physical with my mom. And it got bad, got really bad. And, the way that just played out was absolutely horrible. We were kind of like a, family that the neighborhood kind of looked up to. And that was just such a turning point for me. Dad was starting to go downhill. And, Mom stayed as strong as she could for us. And, I think today, the fact that those things still stay with you, they stay with you forever. You know what I mean? Like you said, you were 5 years old when that happened, and I was maybe like 10 or 11 when that happened. But, you hold on to those things, and you don't want to keep those feelings moving forward. And I'm glad that we both are able to even talk about these things now and be okay with them, because it's messed up stuff that can mess people up.
It's crazy how different we grew up and how similar we grew up at the same time sometimes.
Right,
It's trippy.
right.
Oh, what's the most hurtful thing someone's ever told you?
So, I don't know if you remember.
Oh man.
But you once told me that I'm gonna die on the bottom of a hill by myself.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you did. You said, because I told you I was gonna go stay in the mountains on my own, and she was like, that's where you were like, that's where you deserve to be, and you're gonna die there by yourself.
Oh, that's really bad, babe. I don't remember saying that.
Oh yeah, and I would say
That's like the.
that it was hurtful, but I was like okay with it in a way. I am okay with a lot of things, and I was just like, whether I do or not, I know I'm gonna be fine. So it was hurtful. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, man, I'll be fine, even if that is the case. Yeah, it was pretty trippy to me, but I was like, hey, if that's what is destined for me, then that's what will be.
Ooh. Dang.
Go ahead, your turn.
I think the most hurtful thing you ever said to me is like, look where you come from.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I felt like it was like, I was like joking with you. I'm like, you're a crackhead. Like just messing with you. Like it wasn't even a serious moment. And then you said that to me. And I was like, dude, that's actually so crazy that you said that. Like, I felt like, damn, I shouldn't have shared anything with you,
Mm-hmm. What are some things you should be more sensitive towards?
I think I should be more sensitive to your feelings and how hard you work all the time.
I'm a hard worker.
You are a hard worker, and I think I was only raised by men, and strong women. So I think everyone has always worked hard all the time. Like it's like an expectation of you. Like it's normal. But I don't really take into account that working hard is it's a lot. It's tiring, it's exhausting, it takes a lot out of you. And I think sometimes when I make it seem like a normality, it's like you don't feel heard or
Yeah, I would say that you don't really consider the cards we've been dealt quite a bit. And I try to explain that or talk to you about that quite a bit as well. it ain't been easy for either of us, and it's just you and me. So I am not your grandpa who's got his own ranch over there, who got to, you know, and we got to work for everything that we are pushing towards. So yeah, I appreciate you for saying that. Sometimes I let my feelings get the best of me in thinking about where you could do better and how you could, you know, be more mindful of me instead of just continuing to give and show you love, you know. Like I expect quite a bit of you.
Say that you're like selfish sometimes.
I would say so. I would. You can call it selfish. I sometimes think like, man, is she really the best for me, you know? And instead of thinking like that, I could instead just give you my best, and you know, but with that, like being more sensitive towards your feelings in that sense, because I know you don't feel good about the fact that I tell you the things that I tell you, like the other morning when I woke up and I was in a bad mood just because you didn't want to cuddle with me, you know, and that goes back to the affection thing and all this and that, but instead of just grabbing you and cuddling with you, I'm now expecting you to cuddle with me a little bit and, you know,
do more and
touch
expect
me.
less.
Exactly. So I could be more sensitive towards not expecting that much of you and just loving all the fantastic qualities that you sure do have.
Okay. Who is someone you had to learn to forgive?
My daddy. You know, my dad for sure is somebody who I, you know, had to forgive at a young age. And it's crazy the way I did forgive him pretty much the same day as what he did the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, and that's just how my heart is. I think I got my mama's heart. It's a blessing and a curse. You know, we take a lot of nonsense and just let people slide with it, and how that plays in with us today is you tell me all the time that a lot of people take advantage of me and they walk all over me, and I need
set your boundaries.
I need to set more stern boundaries, and I can do that. And I rather, like you were also saying, is how I'm such a loner. So I think that plays into that, because instead of forgiving people, I just rather walk away from people. So.
Dang, that's deep.
I just move around them, but I can learn to forgive more. You're the one person who I've forgiven in multiple areas, and that is a good indication for me as to why you are my life partner.
Yeah, I would say that you're someone that I'd had to learn to forgive in order just to stick with you and love you. I had to learn to forgive a lot of the things that you've done in the past in order just to move forward. I thought that's been a challenge, because, you know, when you live with somebody, you deal with them every day, like, it could be like the smallest thing that they do that'll trigger things that have happened in the past, you know? And then you're mad all over again because you're remembering everything that happened already. And really, really just have to forgive and move forward in order so you can actually move forward.
Tell a story of a time you loved someone and they didn't love you back.
Ooh, I feel like I think you're the one that I had to grow on, like when we were in college.
You tell me that all the time.
Yeah, I was like, you approached me, like, and you remember when we took that walk, and you were like, this is too much, this is too crazy. I'm like, dude, all right then, like, you're either gonna mess with me and be with me, or you're not gonna have me at all. And then you were still trying to be my friend. I'm like, if he doesn't like me, why is he still trying to be my bestie? Like, you got me messed up. But I feel like, I don't know, like you thought it was like too good to be true, or too stressful, or too much work at the time. And other situations were probably easier and less stressful and less maintenance, you know? But I don't really have a problem with people loving me.
Right. Yeah, that was a tricky time with all kinds of things going on. You know, I couldn't get enough of you, but like you said, I thought that it would have been tougher than it would have been pleasant. But today I'm so glad that we were able to get past that and be where we are today.
What about you? Who loved you? Who did you love but they didn't love you back? I want to know.
Would we go relationship-wise, or would we go family-wise? I'll go to family, because I got an extended family. You know, they've cared for my brother and I for a long time, wrestling folks that we've met, you know, and they've been there for us. But, you know, sometimes I've felt like I've tried so much to be closer to them, but, you know, it's tricky when you're not somebody's, you know, biological kid, you know, and you're trying to be so close to them. It's a tricky thing to deal with.
You like yearned for their love and affection.
Yeah,
And
but it also
do you feel like they treated you like their kid, though?
Yeah, they definitely did treat me with a lot of love, and you know, they were there for me. I can't say they've never been there for me. They've always been there for me till this day. And so it's just having to make peace with the fact that it's not actually your mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta just understand that. And I might have wanted in those in certain times, like, for them to treat me like I was exactly their kid, you know, and I guess I can't really expect that of them. So just having to go through those feelings was a little bit tough. But
do you think seeing them and their family being so united kind of made you resentful because you didn't have that united family anymore?
It's a good question. I could say that. You could say that, you know, because I guess because of dealing with how my family was falling apart and knowing the kind of family that we were, and then having these folks taking care of us, you know, I was really, really trying to be theirs, because mine was breaking up like it was, and they were just supportive of us. I was expecting too much of them. I know that for a fact. So I wouldn't say that they didn't love me, but just the feeling that came about in certain times from having them, you know. Again, they're one of my biggest blessings, but it's just some feelings that have come up with dealing with that, with them, yeah.
What's something you would change about you and me?
Shoot, our financial situation. But we are surely making that happen. I wouldn't want anybody else to be by my side throughout this journey. I think life is a beautiful journey, the ups just as much as the downs. And you know, like we both know, we haven't been dealt the best cards, and we have to do a little bit more to get to where we're trying to get to. and I wouldn't want to do it with nobody else.
Yeah.
He's my trooper.
What's something I would change about us? Sometimes I wish I could change my past experiences so that I could trust more and you could trust more, and then we can just go into this like with all the trust and not have to worry about anything. You know what I mean? Or maybe like our support from our family. Sometimes it feels like we're doing everything by ourselves and everybody else has all this love around them and it's just you and me and our dog, you know? But I'm okay with where we're at and where we're going. It's gonna be more,
It's getting better and better.
what is it? It's gonna be more worth it. Or
Rewarding.
Rewarding in the end, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.